All right, everybody. This is your girl, Say No Win, and I'm back again. I may be your friend, I may be your foe, I don't know, but all I know is I actually have a second repeat cousin that came back. You may remember him. Is Garrell Trinity Woods. I don't know if I should use your full government, but I'll take it down if you want me to. But we had a great conversation just about the accountability of Black women and just Blackness in the community. And just, ooh, it was good. It was spicy. It was hot. But this time we're coming with just a semi heavier note, but also on a lighter note. We're going to be talking about a common show that we both enjoy, which is Ted Lasso. But first, I just want to give you the opportunity just to introduce yourself again, because I love your way you introduce yourself, Jarrell.
Hi, okay. I'm not sure how I introduced myself last time, but I am Jarrell Woods Trinity, father of the legendary House of Trinity, founder of the Black Rainbow Movement, Young Gifted and Black in Chattanooga, as well as the founder and director of the Figurines Burlesque troupe back in the day. I have worked everywhere between from corporate America to nonprofit sector, and mostly I'm just excited about building communities, building people, helping individuals and entire groups reaching their goals. That's just me.
Yeah, awesome. Well, before we get into it, well, I forgot to ask you this, tell you what I wanted to do on the outline. Can you just catch us up on what's been going on with you since we last talked? I know it's been a while, just to kind of do a little check in. How you feeling mentally, physically, spiritually, and then we'll get into the topic of the day.
Ooh, well, my particular life has taken a really interesting turn as of late. And by interesting, I mean I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. I had a close friend of mine, one who would literally come to my house every day. We hung out, unalive themselves
Oh
in the past month.
no,
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
it's
so
pretty.
sorry.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, so dealing with with that was really taxing on my
Mm.
mentals, considering they had just been in my house earlier that day,
Oh
you
wow.
know, and I had dozed off, because we were hanging out, and it was really early in the morning. And I dozed off. When I woke up, he was gone, and I just kind of remember saying to myself as I was dozing off, to mention to him out loud that he didn't have to go anywhere if I fell asleep, but then I thought, oh, yeah, he knows that though. Like, sure, yeah, like he's been here. Like, we've been here before. He knows that he doesn't have to go anywhere. He could just chill, But I didn't say it out loud, so I've kind of going through that thing, and had to have a lot of great people in my support system kind of share some of their experiences with the similar
Yeah.
thing, and then their sort of experiences with going back and forth with the, well, if I had done this, what if I had said that, but you can't really live in those realities, because this is where we are. This is what happened. This is the reality that we're in right here, and so it's
It's hard.
yeah, it's hard, but you have
Yeah.
to just move forward and realize that you know that person made the decision that they made, and
Mhm.
unfortunately, they left us to kind of live with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just trying to move forward. It's kind of lit a fire in me because this particular person was very much an advocate for the arts, very much an advocate for me hustling in that regard, being more creative, being more productive in my creativity, and encouraging me to kind of like get up and just like go for it. And since they've passed, I definitely have been more focused on, well, I gotta create, I gotta make some stuff, I gotta start trying a little harder.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the hard part, like just trying to like move on past a person who was instrumental in your life. And I always hate like having to move on. Like that's the part I'm like, or the part where the whole world is moving on and you're still kind of in your grief. I know
Mm-hmm.
that's how it was for me. Like when my dad passed, it's just like, how are y'all motherfuckers still going up? That's like,
Right.
but I get it. I'm so sorry for your loss. My gosh, yeah. And I really want, that's one of the goals that I have just in general, just talking hard. So
Mm.
thank you so much for sharing that with me and feeling safe enough to do so. So
Well, I feel like a lot of people should share more. They should let people know when they're hurting, let people know what they're going through, and
Mhm.
people should be receptive to that when it happens. Now, this isn't to say that your pain gives you license to kind of put everybody's life on pause. As you said earlier, the world will move on from their grief before you will,
Mhm.
and you have to kind of be respectful and understand that, and but people should definitely feel safe to share, when they're not necessarily at their best, so that everybody around them can kind of support them a little bit more.
I agree. I agree. Well, it's kind of we may be taking this a little bit backwards then, just because we're kind of on the conversation that we wanted to talk about with Ted Lasso,
Yeah,
and
kind of.
I was like, great job, said Wig, and we will hit. I say I'm gonna say this. We'll save the conversation about Jordan Neely for last, just so we can really get into that. But since we've had so many technical issues, let's talk about Ted Lasso
Hmm.
and why we love that show so much. I'm just gonna jump into I give a for those who don't know, Ted Lasso is a show on Apple TV. And if you ain't getting into the Apple TV shows, I really want y'all to because they are really great content. It's about a Kansas coach who is picked to coach football in England, and he is, basically a fish out of water tail. And it actually derives.
And
Oh, go ahead.
just to be clear, football is not the same thing that you probably think when you hear football.
Exactly. Yes,
So in
yes, yes.
Europe they call football, what we call soccer, they call it football, which actually makes a lot more sense considering you touch the ball with only your feet for the whole time,
Exactly.
right? Whereas we call our game football, but you don't touch the ball with your feet except for like once or twice.
And that's the kicker. Like, I don't understand why they didn't want. I think it was just America trying to be too different. Like how we became the pounds instead of the metric system. They just like, we're gonna just do everything different and make no sense. so, so yes. So as Jarrell was saying, yes, it's about it's America was call it soccer, but they call it football. And so he coaches AFC Richmond, an English soccer.
UFC Richmond.
Oh, UFC. He is frequently ridiculed for his folksy optimism and inexperience with the sport, but gradually wins people over through his kind, hopeful, and compassionate approach to coaching. I had to pull that straight from Wikipedia, y'all. So watch
Right, right, right.
it.
Oh yeah,
um,
wait, it is AFC. But yes,
oh, no worries. But I love that show because it's showing men being different.
yeah. Usually, when you're framing when you're framing manhood or masculinity through through the lens of sports, you're going to run into a lot of the toxic traits that we generally equate with masculinity, such as
Right.
aggression,
Mm-hmm.
cockiness, bravado, entitlement.
Mm-hmm.
And these things do show themselves. They do appear, in characters like Jamie Tart, in characters like Roy Kent,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But then you have Ted, who comes in and literally subverts this. Now, I want to make sure that we make sure that we're clear about one thing. Ted is established to be 100% straight from the beginning. So he is a heterosexual man,
Right.
right? There are a
Mm-hmm.
couple of jokes made early on that heavily, strongly enforce that this is a heterosexual man. So, which I want to make sure is clear, because a lot of times, sometimes when people start to talk about the subversion of toxic masculinity, a lot of times in media we do have a tendency to see people kind of like exploring their sexuality more, which is beautiful and something that does need to be happen. But I want straight men to understand that they can explore these aspects of their being, be more open to these energies within themselves, and still be who they are. It's not, yeah, it's like,
Exactly.
yeah, we're not talking about sexuality here. We're talking about um what it means to be a man, and Ted shows a different way to be a man. He comes into the room with a high level of emotional intelligence. He does
Mm-hmm.
not let anything rattle him. People scream and yell in his face, and he does not let it get to him. People dog him, talk trash. He is not going he takes the high road every time. You're
Right.
not going.
They call him Wanker for the whole entire of the first season.
They call yeah, literally, and for those of you that are not necessarily um, well versed in the vocabulary of the British, a
Mhm.
wanker is one that enjoys his solitude, wanking on his Jimmy, you know. So that's what they're calling him. Is they call him a wanker, But now, and they call him that for the entire first season. And he just takes it in stride. He
Right.
literally knows that these people take this sport extremely seriously. And here's a man who comes in who knows nothing about it, is being put in charge
Mhm.
of a premier team who has 50 some odd years of history in this community and is a staple of this community. They really, really, really care. So it really is honestly dangerous for this man to be walking the streets to London every day to go to work like he does. But he does.
And he puts himself in the community, which I do enjoy most about it. And also, we're gonna try not to be too spoilerific, but they're gonna happen, just so you know. And so, one thing I love about Jason Sudeikis's character in there, he does have that kind of folksy, like old school, like it feels like Southern charm, even though he's from the Midwest, I guess. I don't know,
Oh yeah.
but he has that kind of a naivete, or like a sweet ignorance about the game that people are, but like his counterpart Beard, who is like the brains behind the operation,
Hmm.
keeps him together. And I just love that they have a genuine respect for each other and
And let's
respect for the game.
talk
Yes.
about Beard for a second.
Can we?
Beard being like my favorite character by
Yes.
far,
Hmm.
is like he's sort of a trope that's been used in media lately, which is kind of like the neurodivergent savant. So it's
Hmm.
evident that
Yeah.
to me, at least as a neurodivergent person myself, that Coach Beard is probably on the spectrum in some way. Now,
Mhm.
what that might be, we don't know, and
Right.
it's never explicitly outlined, but by the way he categorizes emotions, the way he has this encyclopedic ability to just absorb information to
Hmm.
a ridiculous degree. It's like he is very that hyperfixation on information in sports. Like he came to this country alongside his friend, alongside
Ted.
Ted,
Hmm.
and had immediately knew more about the game, the area, the
Hmm.
players, and where
Hmm.
they were going than probably
Ted.
people who live there.
And and he was like, but he wasn't too shouty with it. He wasn't like, I'm a know-it-all. He's just like the guy who knows all the information that you can go to, but he's not abusive or annoying with his knowledge. He's like, if you want it, I got it, but if you don't, it's cool.
He literally, yes, said Beard is it is a subversion of what you would expect from, because he's they're very special in the very first couple seasons. We see him as mostly stoic.
Yes.
He doesn't really show a lot of emotions, and the way that Ted kind of like um really, really plays up anytime Beard does show any emotion, or even seems to show any positivity towards other people. It like Ted makes it seem like a big deal. Like when he said Nate was a good kid in the first season, he's like,
Right.
"Oh, you really mean that, don't you? Oh,
Right.
wow!"
And he's like, good kid. And we're like, oh, okay, Beard, giving out a compliment.
right. It's like it definitely goes to show that interconnectivity with between people isn't something that Beard is the best at, but Ted, through his emotional intelligence, through his patience, he gets him. They get each other,
Hmm.
right? And
Yeah.
even though Ted has way more charisma, and Beard has way more stoicism, they still come at each other with compassion and
Hmm.
with love. There's love there, right?
They balanced each other out very well. And I love that, like doing some research, I'm looking at it now, like the show is directed by mostly men. And it's nice to see, and it's written and directed by mostly men, but they do have women who actually play roles in writing some of the episodes. But I love the fact that you're seeing men trying to change the male gaze as well of what men are capable of, because like that, like I feel like men always say like, oh, I don't have any emotions. I'm like, yes you do, you're a human. You've just been programmed to be not show it and be like Beard and be stoic, or if you are showing the emotion, you get treated like, you get called gay in a derogatory way.
Right,
And men are constantly scared of having their masculinity being challenged, like you can't be a gay person and be masculine all at the same time. Like
right.
there can't be a duality. And I love that there is the duality in this show, especially, I'm not, since you have not seen the third season, I will not spoil the third season.
Well, I'm coming into the third season now,
Okay, good.
but like, but as and it's funny though, all the character arcs for the men in the show
Mm-hmm.
are literally them taking on more of those, becoming more emotionally intelligent,
Mm-hmm.
wiping away all those aggressive tendencies, being able to overcome their egos and emotions to try to get to the greater goal of the betterment of the team, of the community as a whole. You
Right.
know, that happens with Roy Kent, and his journey with Keely, and being able to forgive Jamie, and being able to forgive, even be able to forgive Nate too. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and Nate turns and is like the exact opposite. Like we literally watched his character journey, and I spotted it at season 2. I said, "Oh, this man is a supervillain waiting to happen." Right?
Really?
Oh
What made
yes.
you realize that he was going? Because I was shocked when he
Uh,
went off on Ted on that last episode. I was like, when? But I've rewatched it several times, so I kind of see it now. But when did you see his turn?
Girl, I
Um.
saw it coming from a mile away. Okay, so
Oh, tell
what
me.
happened was, like, I started to notice, like, when Nate's character was trying, he wanted to embody those same toxic traits that everyone else was literally trying to grow out of.
Oh, okay.
He
Okay, I
wanted to
think I
be
know
the
what you're talking
macho man. He wanted to
about.
get the
Mm-hmm.
girl. He wanted to be the man in charge. He wanted to be the guy that could walk into a bar and get the girl to go out with him. He wanted to be famous. He wanted, like
Man. Yeah.
yeah, he literally was kind of like a case study for incel energy, right? Now,
Ooh,
and
yeah.
yeah, so like that's literally his story arc. Now, when I noticed it when Roy came in, when they brought Roy in to coach, and
Yes.
he walks onto the field. Which, mind you, he just showed up. Roy just showed up and just waltzes out onto the field. You
Yeah.
know, um, and
In
so
his suit.
right,
Yep.
right, and his suit, mind you, yes, and his suit looking way back because Nate decided I'm gonna wear a suit today on the field, trying to stand out, trying to kind of define his brand. You know,
Yeah. That's true. That's
and
true.
and then here comes the he's here happy fucking with Roy
Roy Kent.
Kent.
Yep.
Here he comes
Mm-hmm.
in, to steal his thunder, and after that, like the news articles, everything, the Roy Kent effect, it started to move away from the Wonder Kid,
Mm-hmm.
or Wunderkind, as he meant to say.
Wunderkind. Right. And I love, there's a scene in episode in season 3 where he has like his iPhone to call him the Wunderkind. And I'm just
Mhm.
like, let it go, bro. You said Wonder Kid. Like, just take the L.
Right, take the
but
L. Right.
but you're right. You're right. Cause when Roy walked in, you did see his face crumble, like his energy crumble, like he
The
was going.
camera makes a noticeable
Mhm.
cut to him. They do a
Yes.
cut and they do a bus shot, and you see his reaction to Roy walking on the set. And I knew, I said, from that moment, I said, he is going to become a super villain. And as
Yeah.
it started to go, get into it, everybody's trying to support him. Everybody's trying to lift him up, And then when he has that confusing interaction with Keely, and Keely tries to just be like, Nate, look, I get it. I get it. It's okay. We're not,
Hmm.
I'm not going to trip about it. We're not going to trip about it. You know what I mean? that flipped him off too. That flipped him off too because when Roy literally told the Diamond Dogs that he was about to beat up Jamie, but Jamie apologized to him. It came, first of all, came out to him and told him what happened before told him what happened even before Keely could get to him,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
And so he was like, well, damn, okay, this man came with me with respect, and we're not, and what can I do? I can't, I can't be mad at him, you know,
Yeah, because like,
and
because he came to him like a man, but also in a respectful way. Be like, I fucked up, and I'm glad that they kind of solved it because I'm like, they had a relationship for a long time, so things bound to happen. But I love the character arc of Jamie himself as well when he started to become a person that you definitely root for, besides
right.
him having his ability. But like, just so we won't go off too far on Nate, but I remember Nate when he started spitting on that mirror. One, I can't stand seeing people spit. It's gross.
Oh,
But
girl, every time,
every
every
time, I'm like,
time, I was like, ugh, yeah.
right. I'm like, first of all, somebody got to clean that. Like, you being real hella disrespectful, right?
Right. It's just like,
But
stop spitting, bro.
can you spit in the grass? Well, why I gotta be on the mirror? But I guess maybe that thinking about it now, just as a character analysis, maybe that was him spitting on his reflection. He was spitting on the reflection of Nate that he didn't like,
That
and he
he
was
didn't
trying
like.
to, and he's
Right.
spitting and trying to become that bold, big, bad character. And I noticed that's when I noticed his little turnaround. I was like, why you gotta be like this, Nate? You a good man. He's a good man, Savannah. You gotta stay with him. So but I like Nate's progression, and I don't know how far are you with season 3.
Let's see. How far am I? Let me actually take a let me take a look in here and find out. Where is my remote? Where is my remote? Okay, so I am at um okay, because I fell asleep early, so I'm trying to figure out what I remember. The big week. So I remember the game between since season 4. I remember the game between Richmond and
Okay, so you're like episode 4. Okay.
I'm halfway there. Huh?
Okay. Okay. So you good. You good. Let's see. Big week. Because I'm looking up trying to keep up with so I won't go too crazy.
Mm.
But Nate is I think with Nate's character, you when you get into it, you're gonna start seeing he's fighting against his better angels in I feel like in this season where he wants to be the old Nate that we fell in love with. But
No,
he
yeah, because
also
yeah,
well,
because right before the game, he does have that moment where he's like, you know what, the way that I left, that was kind of some bullshit. I really do feel
mm-hmm,
like I needed ROT an apology. I didn't have to do that like that. I was upset. I was in my feelings, but
mm-hmm,
it's real clear that Ted generally does care. You know. And people put a lot of pressure on this man. He's like, you forgot about me, you abandoned me. I'm trying to. He's like, bro, he's trying to like focus on getting this whole team together. He's got pressure
mm-hmm.
from the entire community and from Boss Lady, who is by the way a bad bitch in every aspect, and I love her.
I love me some Rebecca. Okay, so last thing, what do we hope to see for Nate going on in the for the last season? Are you hoping to see a complete 360 or just like a whole new Nate? What do
It
we
does
talk about
seem
Rebecca?
like they're setting him up for a redemption arc. Nate
Yes.
is just literally going through the same thing that everyone else had to go through, but backwards, right? He's
Mhm. Yeah.
reconciling the fact that he does need to have more confidence in himself and his abilities, and he does deserve possibly to be the leader of his own, clubhouse. I mean, he clearly is really, really good at what he does, which is why Ted gave him the chance in the first place. However, he does have to understand that being that sweet, kind and emotionally intelligent or emotionally in touch
Hmm.
person isn't a bad thing. It doesn't mean that you're less than. It doesn't mean you deserve less. You just have to be able to be that, but also switch up and demand what you need when you need it. You know. So, and I think that that's kind of like his story arc. He's like he's gonna learn how to find that balance, and they're gonna redeem him because Ted doesn't hold a grudge. Still to this day, that man don't have no grudge, man. Like
I
even in the
know. I feel like houseway.
even though everybody around him is like, bro, it's okay to be mad at Nate. It is okay for you to be upset with him. You know what I mean? You know, they kind of overdid it a little bit too much. Like when they showed them him ripping the sign, and they were.
Yes. And
I was.
I love how they were like, sometimes violence ain't the answer. Like it's just you can't keep going into these certain secular natures because they went back into not even their old ways because I've never seen them that toxic where they were like literally beating people up on that field.
Oh yeah, yeah. They're like they're playing like Italians, and it's
And it
awesome.
was like, I love it. Yes. I was like, but no, they're not winning. And it just seems to be like it was like their kiss of death. It's like their karmic. They had like a karmic backslide because like Zaba left.
hmm
Because I think. Sorry, I'm not hoping it didn't spoil anything.
Oh
But
no, no, no! I'm
okay,
sorry. I saw Zava leaving.
okay, cool, cool, cool. Yeah, so he ended up leaving. I wasn't surprised. I was like, Zaba is just trying to like get them out of the hole that they were feeling like they were already in,
Yeah,
and
and it's like
he needs
because
to kickstart it.
character wise, it kind of didn't make sense for them to continue to have him there because it like if you like the way that they portrayed him, it's like how can they lose? You know.
Mhm. Yeah, because he was killing the game, and up until the point where they let their I wouldn't say their emotions, but their negative emotions or their unbridled emotions take over and not have any kind of regulation. And so I think with Zaba is like he left but Zaba left because that's what he did. He's like, I'm a badass bitch, so I can leave whenever I want to. I got y'all up here. I'm gonna go grow avocados and stare at my weird name wife. So so
Right.
extra.
So extra. And it was like yeah, and it made sense though because for his arc because Rebecca challenged him. If you were truly good, you could play anywhere. Even if
Yep,
this team sucks, you could be the one to bring them around if you were just that good. And he did. So
he
he's like,
did.
well, I proved myself. Now I'm gonna go grow avocados. Look at my weird wife.
Exactly. And then the names of his children. I let my children name themselves. Like, boy, get out of here with the naming your
So,
children.
so I let every last one of our children name themselves when they hit 7 years old. Nigga,
Yes.
what?
What? So they up around just being called grunts and powers.
Yeah, they said dirty, ugly, and nasty is the name of his last three kids.
Oh my God, that is wild. But
Hold on.
let's go back. Let's go back to Rebecca Wilson, aka Hannah Waddingham.
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 Yes. West
Um,
End legend.
Yes. Well, I didn't know, like, because I'm looking the characters up as we go, just because I'm like, I haven't done a deep dive. Usually, when I get like a hyperfixation, I go on a deep dive on everybody,
hmm
but I've been mostly just focused on like how emotional the show gets me, and be like this last episode, open faced weeped. Like, I'm gonna let you get there. And it just hit me so hard. There's like the last two episodes just been really great, especially showing like some of the side characters and giving them more of an arc instead of just focusing on Ted, Rebecca, and also Roy. So I'm
But
glad.
I think the most impactful season to the subject that we're talking about is
Hmm.
what's basically the second season
Yes.
in which the therapist is introduced and
Yep.
that character. So like Ted's optimism, his happy-go-lucky personality, we never see any like we just he just comes in and he's this whirlwind of joy and positivity, a person that's literally impossible to dislike, right?
Hmm.
And
Right.
like he won't let you dislike him.
But that goes into the topic of like that positive, toxic positivity.
Right. And so
Hmm.
and like so as I'm watching it first, I'm like, oh, his wife's a real catch you next Tuesday. How you caught this man that like Ted Lasso and you're trying to be a bitch about it? His
I
positivity is overwhelming. What the fuck do you mean, you cunt? And then you go off and start dating Dr. Josh and you ain't even gonna tell my man's nothing? Like for real?
Oh, yes. Okay, okay. I want to talk about that because that pissed me the fuck off. I'm like, you gonna date the doc?
Not only
That
dating the doctor, but you bringing this man around, this man kids, and you ain't
kid
told him nothing.
all the time. No, you should as soon as you got with that motherfucker, because that made me mad. Like you should have told him. Because that was one of his reasons why with Dr. Sharon, I kind of like seeing him real person angry. I was like, okay, daddy, that's the toxic part of me.
No,
But
it definitely, yeah. Whenever he does show his anger, like when he went off on the doc, I was like, ooh, oh
ooh,
Ted,
okay,
oh okay.
okay. Or
Why
my
you so
father,
mad? Calm down.
right? Okay, daddy, you need a fruit cup. I got you.
No, it's okay, Daddy. You need a fruit cup. I'm hollering.
Or no, when he said practice, it's just practice, Jamie. When he was yelling at him after he
Right,
got
it's
divorced, I was
practice,
like,
and you
ooh,
can't go because you're hurt.
you're
I'm talking
hurt.
about practice,
Practice,
not the
yes,
game. Practice.
practice. Okay, okay. And he was like, I know. Or when he yelled at, I didn't like when he yelled at Nate when he was drunk. I don't like drunk Ted. I like angry Ted. There's a difference.
Oh, I didn't. I haven't seen him nail it Nate drunk yet, so I guess I'll have to wait on that one.
Oh, that's the first season when they're in the hotel when they
Oh,
play.
oh, yeah. When
Yeah,
he yells at him for when he catches him outside the door, and he's like, what are you doing?"
yeah,
And
that's
even
when he was having to do the paperwork for the divorce. But
and even then, his yelling was like being bit by the snuggles bear. He was like, "It's past curfew. Go away." You know.
true, true, because he was like drunk and a little sad, and you knew it was not out of hatred. It was like something going on with that man. He ain't all right at all. But oh, sorry, let me get off this. We were just talking about. Oh, angry Ted. But also his bitch ass wife.
Right. Fuck her.
Sorry, that's just not right. It had to be. That's like you gonna have the therapist who was telling your wife that he has a toxic positivity, and then you gonna roll up and get her 18 months later. No, homeboy, men be waiting the long haul too.
And then that was wow. Yeah, because that was the. I'm sorry. Like I see. I be half paying attention sometimes when I watch the shows. Most of the time, like I might be doing something else, and I didn't quite catch that. That's the same fucking doctor that they went to couples therapy with. How unprofessional. How motherfucking unsanctioned. That man should lose his license.
It's just, but apparently, so like I'm in a part of a Facebook group, and when people get in there, they be like researching shit.
Mhm.
Apparently, it's not ethical, but it's not illegal as long as there is a time frame afterwards. But I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn, ma'am. You should have told your ex-husband that I am dating our former therapist, and I want to be with them. That's all I gotta say. Because that was fucked up. And then to have him ambushed like that, why he answering his phone?
Well, in that particular instance.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, excuse me.
Oh, you okay, boo?
Yep.
Take your time.
Water went down the wrong pipe.
Put put your hands over your head. That's what my mama said.
Not put your hands on your head.
Over your head.
I know. Oh Lord have mercy. But no, yeah, like he answered the phone because he called because Ted just happened to not have a cell phone on him. He didn't
Mm-hmm.
know Michelle's cell phone number, but he remembered the house phone number, so he
Right.
called the house phone. And I recognize and understand that for years, like those of you younger listeners who don't know what a house phone is. So a house phone or a landline is a cell phone is a phone that's connected to the through wires to the telephone lines.
Not why.
So the power lines you see outside your house,
Mm-hmm.
kids, they don't just carry power. They also carry telephone
Phone
signals and telephone lines, right? So
Mm-hmm.
those lines would come into your house just the same as your power and plug directly into your phone so that you could carry those electrical signals and voice impulses and turn them into digital signals so they can send it over to the next person calling. So you used to have home phones that were tethered to your house. Yay.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so,
That's for us not born in the 1900s
mhm, right.
who
Y'all,
understand
y'all was
the
born
turn of technology
in the early aughts.
in the
But
early. So
so yeah,
welcome.
so she calls the house phone. She thinks it's a telemarketer, and so he's like, okay, I'm gonna answer the phone, and yo, messes the
Be
telemarketer.
funny. Yeah.
Yeah, and so when he does answers the phone and makes a joke, of course it's Ted on the other end. So Ted right along in there with the joke. You
I
know,
was like,
so
but like, who is this? Who's speaking? I was like, no,
no, he's like, they said, no, Ted goes along with the joke. He said, hey, Mr. Former President.
Mhm. Yeah, I just love Jason Sudeikis so much. That's one fine ass man. Oh my
That's
god,
what everybody keeps saying. Now, I'm like, I
he's
don't,
a. Oh, go ahead.
I don't necessarily think I mean, he's got definitely got marrying face.
Mary face.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think that he's conventionally attractive in this sense. You
Right.
know, like there's definitely more attractive people around him, like Roy and stuff like that.
Oof.
But if out
Love
of
him.
all the people there, yeah, Ted definitely would be my husband. That would be my husband. That'd be my man, and I'm gonna die,
Uh-huh.
and I'm gonna stand beside him. You
Yes.
know,
Good
I'll
man.
sit here. I just started watching, so I had brought my daughter over to the house, and I was like, I said, I got to introduce you to my husband. You know, to introduce to your father, your new father-in-law. You know, and so we
Like,
watching the show, and we get to the second season. We get to the part where he meets the therapist, right? And
mhm.
the therapist was very, she thought she had a problem. I said, no, no, she's just being very professional.
Mhm.
She's just keeping a professional distance, and
Yes.
it seems like she has an issue with Ted. It's not, no, she doesn't have an issue. She's just setting strong boundaries.
Boundaries.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
and we're not used to that. We're not used to people who know how to set boundaries. We're not used to people who know how, because when you really look at everything she said to him, she didn't say anything rude either way or wrong.
Right.
She was just very straight up, matter of fact, and professional. She took a lot of the blah 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 out of it and said, okay, here's the issue. Here's what we're gonna do. Here's what the reality of the situation. She just was very professional, right?
Right.
Um, and um, so, but when she was being that way, it was obvious that it was clearly affecting Ted negatively. And so my daughter was in there watching it, and she yells at the screen, "Don't you break him!" Like, she yelled at the screen, "Don't you break him!"
That's what she said about Miss Dr. Sharon to Ted.
To Ted, she said, "Don't you break him!"
Don't you break that? Cause like but I think what she did, she broke him, she cracked him open. She didn't break
Hmm.
him, she cracked him open to get to the root of his positive shell. Cause like
Because he
he
made
wasn't
himself.
letting anything in.
Yeah, but it's so funny though if you really think about it, the parallels between both the characters, they both have the same problem, and they solve that
Yes.
problem for each other. Because
Yes.
Ted covered because her therapist told her the same thing. She said the way that he masks his emotions and his insecurities with humor and positivity, you do the same thing with your intelligence.
Yes.
Whenever you want to cover, you cover by being intelligent. Like he comes in with his normal routine, brings her the biscuits, asks her about a favorite book. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
The uh, recipes to win people over, right? And
Right.
she basically is like, oh, okay. She analyzes what he's doing. I see what you're doing.
She showed read him. Oh, this is cute.
Right.
But I love it.
She's like, okay. She said, yes, I see. This is the clear the way how you meet new people. She
This
said,
is
I
cute.
understand it. She said, it's very
Mm-hmm.
disarming.
Yeah, I love Dr. Sherry. I hope we get to see her just a little bit more. The one thing I don't I miss about this third season is just having like I loved Roy's relationship with his niece Chloe and how
Phoebe.
cute. Oh, Phoebe. Oh yeah, where did I get Chloe from? Phoebe.
Because you mixed Keely and Phoebe up.
I sure did. Good job. Yeah. But I love that relationship. I just thought it was so cute. And I hope we get to see Rebecca and Sassy's daughter, because I like Sassy's and the daughter and those side characters.
Yeah, what's her name? Nora. Nora Noel
Yes,
Noah.
Nora, yes. And
Hmm.
I'm kind of sad we ain't seeing Rebecca sing as much, even though she only give us a couple of pipes every time, but that woman can sing her ass off.
Like and sang
Sang
down.
down.
Now when she
Yes.
first started singing and she hit the snow grows white on the mountain tonight. I was like, okay, okay, okay,
Okay. Okay.
all right.
Okay. I see you,
But she
sis.
said, but then she hit that, but now they know. I was like, yes, bitch. Okay. All right now.
My
That's when I had to look her up. I said, okay, I gotta find out who this woman is.
okay. when she hit that Christmas episode when she did that high note in the middle of the damn street and she
Hmm.
woke everybody up, I was like, okay, sis.
The whole city, the
All
whole
right.
city. She
As
said,
we
"Get up,
should.
everybody, get
As
up,
we should. Stand up. Stand up. Get up the
stand
house.
up."
Yes.
Oh, I
Okay.
love that. I've got to use that a lot lately.
What stand
Unfortunately, stand up because,
I know.
like my homegirl said, what she said, she said, "Why some of y'all females act like if y'all not in a relationship, y'all gonna die? Y'all hoes be weak in the knees. Stand up,
Stand
stand
up.
up,
She said that straight from her heart, from her like her stomach, her heart, all of it. Stand up,
stand
sis.
up."
Get up. Get off your ass and get on your feet, honey. Stand on your two legs. Okay. So a couple other characters I want to get into. We're gonna kind of I just want to talk about Rebecca's character arc a little bit, how
Hmm.
she was a little bit of the villain, but how she's turned around in second season. And I love her relationship with Keely. And also, how did you feel about her relationship with Sam Obasanya?
Hmm.
She has a character.
I was gonna talk about Sam too. Sam also does a great job of subverting toxic masculinity. He's
Oh yes.
sweet, he's kind, he's wise, he is
Hmm.
constantly thinking like he's just so polite. Yeah,
Yes. Almost to the point like too polite in the beginning,
yeah. In the
but
beginning, it was like because I was like, nah, bro, like don't let Jamie talk to you like
right. I'm like,
that.
stand up. Like you don't need to
Right,
be like you got here on your merits too, bruh. And you're a great footballer as well. But I
and
like go ahead.
and that's sort of like his arc as well as like it's like the everyone in the show is finding that balance between
Yes.
because like everyone tries to say, oh well, if the men are that way, then they'll be this too much that way, and they'll get walked all over, which we see sometimes with Ted, which we
Hmm.
see with Sam. But
Hmm.
then later in later seasons, even Ted, Sam, both they learn how to kind of like stand up and defend themselves. You
Yes.
know. Now
Yes.
Sam, his relationship with Rebecca makes sense. And the reason I want to say
Hmm.
why it makes sense because he is a learned and highly emotionally intelligent and just blatantly intelligent and classy young man. He's very traditional and and, and in his art world outlook, and so it makes sense that a mature woman would be more of a fit for him because he's a very mature young man, even though he's only 21. You know, now what I liked about it is that their relationship was created through banter, which I want banter to be a real thing. I think that could be.
Me too.
Yes, like the dating app that's literally no pictures, no like completely anonymous for the most part. You just go by a username, and maybe I think they give age and a brief bio, and
Yeah.
you're encouraged to communicate through just like your conversation and the personality alone. I
Hmm.
mean, so they literally fell for each other through conversation, through their personalities. It was like there was no, cougarism. There was none of
It
that.
wasn't
Yeah.
any grooming because she's like, I groomed you. He's like, you didn't groom me. I was like, I was like,
And first of all, let's be now.
mhm.
Okay, I'm gonna say something,
Let's
and I
go.
hope that people understand what I'm saying. Okay, Halle Bailey, you better work. I'm sorry, Instagram. Halle's like showing off. Um,
We could talk. Can we talk about that too before we end as well? Just because
hell
Miss Monet
yeah,
looks so fucking amazing. But
hell
okay,
yeah.
so but
I'm not seeing it yet, but yeah, we can definitely talk about it. So, with Jesus, what was
grooming.
I saying? Yeah,
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 we're
yeah,
not.
yeah. Okay, no, yeah. So here's the thing. So I recently had an issue on TikTok where I had stitched a person's video where a guy was trying to say in the comments that there was more uh bottoms than there were tops, right? And which is a sexual term for basically who's pitching and who's catching.
Right.
Uh, so
For those who didn't know.
right. So the bottom is the catcher, the top is the pitcher, right? So I explained that that wasn't true. That it's not true that there are more bottoms than tops. It's just that people aren't considering, everyone when they're thinking about who they're like getting out there trying to hook up and date, hook up with and date. I said, y'all just won't date. older guys or fat guys or black guys or disabled guys or and I
Mhm.
started going down the list, and saying basically if you broaden the horizons of who you're looking at, then you'll really come to find that there is way more variety out there for you. Now, the problem was they fixated on the fact that I said older. And somebody in the comments says, well, I don't know, an 18-year-old and a 40-year-old would be pretty weird. And so I simply responded with the fact that an 18-year-old can have sex with whoever they want to,
Mhm.
right? And which is just a fact.
Right.
Girl, tell me why they jumped down my throat all up in there. They was trying to say I was pedophile, trying to say I was promoting relationships with young people, saying that I was trying to pursue 18 and 19-year-olds. I'm like, good Lord.
But I'm
Oh,
like,
Lord.
but it's true
But what
though.
I'm saying is true. I'm not saying that I'm not saying that this is the ideal relationship. But I'm just saying why would if an 18-year-old decided they wanted to fool around with a 40-year-old, why is that creepy? Like they're two adults, they could do what they want to do. Now people keep talking about a power dynamic. I'm like, what power dynamic? Like, because like are we talking about like in the range of like money or whatever or
Mhm.
stability? Yeah, we would think that 40-year-olds are more stable than 20 somethings, but I know for a fact that ain't always true.
In my head though, like when you're thinking about a grooming situation, I think about this person knew this person when they were younger,
When they were
when they're
underage,
when they were underage,
and
and
when
they
and
had an opportunity to possibly manipulate. But if you're just meeting, if you are in a club meeting an 18-year-old that you ain't never met before, and you happen to be older, and y'all vibe, and y'all are consenting adults, I don't see the problem with it.
exactly. So that yeah, with the whole like grooming situation, that is exactly what that is. Like there is an inherent power dynamic when you're under the age of 18, when they're unable to make their own legal decisions.
Correct.
And so there is a definite power dynamic between them and adults, and there's an inbred power dynamic in their mind as I listen to what adults tell me to do. I know that for a fact. I was a preschool teacher. I've worked with teenagers, and that's the thing about the power dynamic when they say with teenagers. I say, have y'all ever tried to get teenagers to do what you tell them to do? Like, good
Right.
lord, like you better have a whole lot of food, because that's
The
the only
fruit
thing that's
sack,
motivating them little bastards.
not the best.
I'm telling you, not even the paycheck is motivating them little crumb snatchers.
Not the crumb snatchers.
I'm telling you, I work. Right now. I manage a jump park, and I manage mostly teenagers, and it is
Oh Lord,
literally the worst trying to get them to do anything.
that
you know,
sounds god awful.
it's actually not that bad because the teenagers are fucking hilarious. They offer hours of nonstop entertainment, and when you speak their language, it is just all about mutual respect. They
Mhm.
have to feel that you respect them before they respect you, and that's just the point break in the period. They want autonomy in that age. They want to
Mm.
feel as if they have a choice, that they can make their own decisions, and you give them a bit of that. You have to give them some leeway and say, okay, well, what do you think? How do you think we should go? What do you? It's like like what do like giving them some deferring to their judgment, and then having them make this. And even if they come to a decision that might not necessarily be the best, talking them through why that might not be the best, and helping them come up with better ways of problem solving. Like it's all a learning opportunity. But when you're in that situation though, and they happen to be at that age, and then you're sort of like building a rapport of trust and loyalty with them. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yeah,
Then
because
that
they
that
they're different now, because like in our generation and below, we were still being raised to be like adults, every whatever adults say goes.
right,
And now the Gen Zers, it's like these adults are dumb, they are emotionally unintelligent, they don't have, a lot of them do not have our best interests in line, and they don't care, and they're like, I have a voice and I should be able to have that voice heard and respect it. Because it's like when they're talking about how kids don't have, like, they got to do what we say and not do what we say and not do what we do. But I'm like, but I see you do what you're
what you
doing,
do,
because
right,
everything is on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and everything. So I'm seeing what you're doing, and what you're doing is bad. So why
right.
can't I listen to you and do what you say? You know, like my cousin's mom said, she said she respects people who respect themselves, and I think that's the difference. Like with kids nowadays. They are a lot more emotionally intelligent than even we are, and definitely damn sure more emotionally intelligent than what our parents were.
Mm-hmm. And they're
So
questioning everything. They're
question
questioning
everything, which is good.
everything. We don't that like we know we like I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and this is kind of like still leading back into Ted Lasso because this is kind of like the reflection that we're seeing in these characters that they
Yes.
don't just blindly follow authority. They do question everything, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like and they do grow to kind of like trust, their leadership because after it's proven that their methods work, but before then they're like, what the hell? Who are you? And what the hell are you coming in trying to tell us what? Just because they gave you the title coach don't mean we're gonna like listen to some damn country ass hick wanker from freaking Kansas
He's like
who don't
some
know shit.
as Roy would say, Ronald McFucking Donald.
Ronald and fucking Donald. I said I'm hollering.
The way he said that, it still makes me gag every time. Didn't know I'm gonna end my career being coached by Ronald fucking McDonald. I love
um,
that show. Oh my god.
oh
Okay, so
my yeah, one of my favorite parts that had me wheezing laughing was Jamie saying, well, you know what? You could continue to talk your Kansas bullshit because all I can hear is the crowd singing my name as I make my goal. Jamie Tot did it. Jamie Tot did it.
and lo and behold, they sure did. And then when he was pointing to the back of his shirt, me,
Me.
me, I love that.
It's
But
hilarious. And then when
let's
he's like,
go ahead.
Jamie, you're gonna go. It's like so. Jamie's like, Jamie, you're gonna make me play. You want me to play decoy? He's like, yeah. It's like, it said, the hilarious. It said, yeah. Nobody thinks that's funny. He says, that true? He said, that's not Roy. Here comes Roy. That's not true. I think it's hilarious. In fact, I think it might be the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Yes.
It's in back.
It's
I thought that movie, what was it? Step
Step
Brothers
Brothers,
was the
yes, with
funniest
the
thing I'd
bunk
ever
beds.
seen. He said, then those bunk beds like fall over. He said, I thought
Yes.
that was the most hilarious thing I ever seen until then. And now I have to reassess what I think is the funniest thing I've ever seen.
I love how you can quote it and you just start watching it. It's
Oh, girl, that's part of my neurodivergence, baby. That's my savant thing.
hey, I love because I'm in my comfort show phase. Like I watch the same thing over and over again, and so Ted Lasso is definitely one of them. For some reason, Scream, all the Scream movies, I watch them over and over again. It's like relaxation for me and Friends, even though like all those shows. Especially in '90s and Friends, toxic as fuck. So that's why
Mm-hmm.
I like seeing Ted Lasso because it's breaking down, like even he'll make points of like stuff that was like really toxic in the past,
Right.
and then he'll bring it and he'll say it so neutrally, like it was just like
Just
when
to
he
throw it
said
away real quick, just like make this
yes.
social commentary moment.
Yeah, especially when he said like when talking about God, he's like and she, and I was just like
Mm.
this white man from Kansas calling God a woman was chef's kiss, and he was just like yeah, if they believe in themselves, like ghosts believing in themselves, he is just so whack crazy. I love it. But I like that they steeped him more, a little bit more reality in the second season because of what he had to go through with his anxiety and like and seeing those things because that was literally how I used to have my panic attacks where my skin felt tight, my hands would grab together, and I remember just boohooing crying when that man ran out and be like, I need some help, and I was like, yes, you do, it's okay.
Hmm. Yeah, I definitely sympathize with that too, as a person who suffers from panic attacks. Like, and they and
Mhm.
I've never. It took me a long time to understand what they were, and
Yeah.
I would get them, and I've only got them like a few times in my life, and it's usually right around the time I would get ready to perform.
Mm.
Like, I remember right before I was about to sing my big solo with Sounds of Destiny back at Metro Tab years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I was literally crumpled in the corner, fucking
Mm.
hyperventilating,
Oh my god.
unable to stand. Like
Mm-hmm.
right before I had to go out there to perform, and then once I got on the stage and just started singing, it just went away. But it was then when I performed at what was it? The Black Fridays in Miller Park. I performed there, and I sung an original song called Hubris. It's a very emotional song for me, anyway. Especially the subject of the when I wrote it. Of who I wrote it,
Mhm.
what I wrote it about.
Oh, okay.
And so then when I sang it, and there's a high note in the song that I sang when I was in the studio, and I have not really ever been able to do live since, but I did it that day. I hit it that
Confident.
day,
You hit that bad
and
boy.
right, and then the crowd like is screaming. There's a whole bunch of people out there. I don't know if I just got overwhelmed by the energy. As soon as I got off the stage, I'm like tears start streaming. My chest was tight. I couldn't breathe, and like my daughter's baby daddy at the time was there, and I was like, Juwan, like where's the car? I need to like go somewhere. I can't be out here right now. yeah. And he supported me. He didn't ask any questions. He didn't know. He didn't ask what was going on. He didn't patch me. He just got me to the car, and we sat in there. And I just freaked out until I wasn't freaking out no more. like
It's
it was
crazy how the energy, like, it has to go somewhere. It has to go somewhere. You gotta let it out one way or another, or you. And it's a lot of times that freak out be real.
it real. You feel like you're dying. Like you have no idea what's happening.
Yes.
Like it,
Woo.
like people don't understand, and it's like like panic attacks or something serious.
Yeah.
And
And
to
so
see
when
that,
he did it on the show, I was like, oh my God, I know how he feels. That shit is awful.
and then for him
Awful.
to take it in stride and then say, you know what, let's really talk about mental health. Let's talk about how mental health pertains to the sports industry. You know,
Mm-hmm.
let's talk
Yes.
about, let's talk about like what it really means to be out here doing this and have all these people literally the whether or not you all riot is depending on how I play. And
Mm.
literally, I could win the game and y'all will riot. I could lose the game and y'all will riot.
It's like it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. Well, okay. So we're getting close to an hour because I know like we had a little technical difficulties. I want to go. I just want to talk a little bit more about Sam, just because since he is a black man, African, and he represents. Well, there's two black characters. Well, there's a lot of black characters actually on the
hmm
show, but the main speaking roles goes to Sam. I've been seeing actually a
Isaac.
lot more Isaac, and
hmm
actually Van Dale is getting a little bit more screen time, which I
Van Dam,
appreciate.
yeah, well, yeah, because he changed his name to Van Dam, yeah,
Right,
after
Zaho,
Zorro.
Zaho.
Van Dam and Bumbercatch says things every now and again.
Yes, yes. Bumcatch is so cute. He is so funny. He has the most random lines, but I appreciate him. Like I want the show to go on as long as possible so we can actually get more character development, especially about like characters like Bumcatch. I would love to see more about Danny's background, just because he is so fucking hilarious and
Danny
adorable.
Rojas,
Danny
Rojas,
Ross,
Danny
Danny
Rojas,
Ross. Football is life. I love him.
Danny Rojas. I'm,
Um, but Sam is that like his character development has been great this season. We get a chance to actually. I don't think you're not there yet, where you get to see
he
his
owns the
father.
restaurant.
Yes, and we actually get to see his father, and I like that they're because like you don't necessarily. I don't know about African culture when it comes to like male and female dynamics when it comes to father dynamics.
hmm
But it's still good to see because again we get that like black men are not there, black fathers, da 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 da, and I love seeing how supportive and nurturing that his dad is. And when you see his dad's this big guy, and so you just like, oh, you see that no matter what, he is there for his child, and it's just a beautiful time. So
hmm
that's one of
Yeah,
my
I mean, I see.
favorite things.
I did happen to because when I woke up to before the because I took a nap a little bit before earlier when I woke up to before to do this, I actually saw the episode where his dad does appear. Sam is like really upset because they've
Hmm.
trashed his restaurant, and
Yes,
he's going off in the locker room, and his dad happens to walk in and says Samuel because he's like, "Whoa, like hold on, like what are you doing? Like you're in here yelling at
that
people,
he had
you
that
know."
deep Samuel. I was like,
and
oh,
and Sam immediately just started bawling and like goes
yes,
into it and I love okay first of all let's talk about how that room is a safe space. A locker room was never in the 90s a safe space to have emotions. Was never a
yes.
safe space to be to be like that. It was
Mm-hmm,
not that way. So it's like
mm-hmm.
so to see that is beautiful to see them to portray these this brotherhood amongst all of these these characters and first of all, we finally see that one of them, I like, is actually gay,
Yeah.
but they haven't quite made that public yet. But
Mhm.
but Miss Trent knows the ass. Miss
You
Trent
dumb.
messy ass. she,
He's like,
she
I synced it with my eyes, honey.
Miss Trent saw the tea, so her messy ass gonna say something. But
Oh, but you will be surprised. I think Trent is a lot better than we think he is. Because I don't. Did we? I think that season in there when Roy confronts Trent about
yeah,
how he contributed to his negative outlook of himself.
right.
And I had times like that where people have said things either hurtful or not hurtful, and it just sticks with your brain forever. And I love the fact that he confronted him, but he didn't beat his ass. He
Hmm.
confronted him, he didn't, and told him how that made him feel. But Trent took responsibility and accountability for that.
It's that accountability. Yes, he did. He
Hmm.
did. Understanding that, you know what, I wasn't thinking about you back then. I was thinking about
Hmm.
myself. I was thinking about how I could be edgy and do something to bolster my career, and clearly it worked.
Yep,
he
it sure did.
he is Trent Crampton, the
Yep,
independent.
the independent.
Mhm.
But yeah, I love Sam. I love that they brought his dad in. At first, I was like, why is his mom not there? But I was like, oh, this is a show that is geared around men having support from other men, and
Mm.
I
Yes,
really
and it does
love that.
and it does have women supporting other women, but that takes place in Rebecca and Keely
Keely's
and their relationships, and Keely developing a lesbian relationship with her boss. Ooh.
yes.
Mm.
And it's not, and I love how it's just not like, I love that we're in this time where it's not like a big surprise. Like, I'm like, okay, because she said, she was like, I may dip my toe back into the lady lake when she was with Rebecca in that
With Rebecca,
hotel.
like, she was like, yeah, she said, okay, you want to go to, I said, she said, you want to go out to the hotel, you trying to go out of town with me? I said, okay, you want to fuck? Let's fuck. And I was like,
Okay,
ooh,
we can go. I was like,
ooh,
Keely,
Keely.
you saucy little minx. I love Juno. She's an amazing actress. But Keely I love her character. How they actually show the women characters too holding themselves responsible and holding themselves accountable for their actions as well. And I love that. Like the first, the what third, fourth episode in the first season, Rebecca was like, "Is Jamie accountable?" And I love how they brought that conversation up, being able to hold yourself accountable for your actions and how you make people feel. And when
Mhm.
Keely was like, "I'm sorry, Roy, I apologize," and she was like, and it helped him see her differently, and it help Keely to see herself differently, and knew that Jamie wasn't the right person for her at that time, because
Right.
Jamie couldn't hold himself accountable. He was a footballer, he was the best man, he was everything.
He was jammy tight.
Jamie Tart. But let's go because we're getting close again. Jamie Tart. I just want to talk about his character development is so sexy right now.
Again.
I just love that he is. I love broken boys that get fixed. They start fixing themselves and becoming better people. That's all. I am that again.
I
My
mean,
chocolate crazy.
and guess what? Guess what? I'm gonna say something sexist. You all do.
We
You
all do.
all
That's
do.
okay. I'm gonna say something equally more sexist because we have been programmed to want to fix motherfuckers,
Because most men are motherfuckers. So everybody,
and they are broken.
and they are broken. So they
Yes.
create this propaganda that somehow you can find that broken boy and fix him and
Hmm.
make him into a better man than just finding a good ass man.
But thing is, like, again, because the patriarchy, which this show definitely fights against the patriarchy, because the patriarchy didn't leave no leeway for men to be great.
Nope.
Because it's like it did not think that they will never patriarchy didn't think they would ever get usurped by like equality and shit, and so it made men basically almost useless
Hmm.
in certain fashions, like
Mediocre. Mediocre.
mediocre. And
Useless. I
so,
mean, look at these politicians. Look at the way that they spoke at the TikTok hearing.
oh
It
my
was
god,
like, oh my God, these are our elected officials. They sound like a bunch of bumbling idiots.
and I'm like, y'all need to go. Like, if the age of retirement is 65 for us regular motherfuckers, Y'all got to go. And half the motherfuckers have been around when slavery, not slavery, but when segregation was a thing. Like, was it? Most of them folks are probably in the Library of Congress, has those notes where they're saying the N word with a hard ER. Okay. So if that was okay when you were in there, including our president, I'm being real, like go Daddy Biden, Granddaddy Biden, he's trying, but I'm just like, can we get some new blood in here? This blood is, it's not like they're taking accountability. That's my thing with the old being old and antiquated and being like better. You are not being accountable for your actions that you played in the roles that you did. Like, be real, Biden. In the 94 crime bill, you helped get that shit pushed up. And because, yeah, you're trying to let people go federally, but like, talk about it. Say you fucked up. I signed that bill with the thoughts of XYZ, but I know that it's wrong now. I see the error of my ways, and I want to be a better person. And this is how I'm going to do it.
Right, true accountability, and that is what Ted Lasso is all about. That is
Yes.
the Lasso way.
That is the Lasso way, accountability. But anyway, um,
That's not a great way. That's a delicious way to wrap that up, huh?
I agree. I love it. You look at you, Segway Kane. Okay.
Oh yeah, on my own podcast, that was my thing. That's them segues. I would just rattle them off.
Yes, yes, honey. Well, let's go ahead because we're hit the 60-minute mark, and I just want to just any final thoughts about Ted Lasso, where we hoping to see it, before we just hit our topic, our last topic of the day.
I just think it's a great show. It's wonderful to see sports show um, um, brought in such a lens, in such a new lens, and giving that strong message of that you can be tough and strong, but still be, yourself and be silly and have fun and
Hmm.
make life just a little bit more whimsical while also kicking ass. And I hope
Yes,
they continue to do so.
I hope so too. I love the show. I love that it creates a safe space for men to see other men help each other, take care of each other, love on each other. Because in this last episode I was watching before we started, one of the characters, they do the countdown, and he was like, they do 1, 2, 3 on three or whatever.
And Elliot counted to 12.
Yes, and I love me some Isaac. But the last he
Isaac, yeah.
says, "I love you guys," and so they do 1, 2, 3. I love you guys all together. I'm just like, yes, y'all do it. Y'all can. That is okay.
And it is okay. I love it. I love it.
I love it. But just so we can go ahead and get into the heavy topic of the day, I just wanted to address something that I addressed the murdering of another black body. I don't know how to make a proper segue. You might have to help me out on that. But I just because I've been avoiding having my opinion said on these conversations about Jordan Neely's his death. It happened over a week ago
Mhm.
in New York. He was murdered on the subway, and Jordan Neely was a 30-year-old busker who was also unhoused. And he was actually known for being a performer of like Michael Jackson impersonator. And so I don't want to go into too depth because like it's so triggering. I'm never gonna watch any videos of anyone getting murdered unjustly because it's just I can't deal with that.
Right.
But he was held down by three people. The one person who actually committed the death blow was Daniel Penny. I'm going to say his name because he deserves to have his name said because there's justice that needs to be said had. And actually, as of today, he's been charged with second-degree manslaughter in the death of Jordan Neely. Um,
Nice.
he should have actually been arrested the day of. I don't understand why he had this time to just run around all willy-nilly like that. Sorry for not a purposeful pun. But the fact that he was 24-year-old Marine and he dealt out justice in a vigilante style is just sickening. And I just wanted to say that I am tired. I'm so tired of seeing this. And I'm like, when are we going to have peace? Um,
This is and I think it's in our best interest to keep, this brief. But I'm gonna say this. This is just another testament of exactly what we talked about earlier, why it's so important for us to subvert toxic masculinity and lean away from all the implications that come with that.
Mm,
Because that whole hyper macho, I'm a Marine, I'm gonna dim out vigilante justice, and I'm gonna catch a body. That's that toxic shit. That's
yes.
the same toxic shit that when Muhammad Abdulaziz committed that shooting at the recruiting armor recruitment office that
Yeah.
caused people across the country to civilians to post up outside of these places with guns and rifles and semi-automatics, saying that they were going to protect the places because they just knew that this was a coordinated attack. It wasn't that it was a coordinated attack or that there was any evidence that that was the case. It was more of evidence that that there are so many people out there wanting to kill, ready to kill, and thinking that that's part of being a man. It's a part
Yeah.
of their testosterone. I need to kill somebody, and that's just ugh,
It's
it's
sickening.
sickening. It's
Hmm.
sickening. It's sickening, and honestly, and I will be real about it. I see it more often in white men than I do in black men.
Yeah.
My black brothers, yeah, they can be violent. They'll whoop your ass, but they're not trying to kill you. It's
Hmm.
about their money.
Yeah, that's true. And I feel like it's again it's a deadly trifecta. There's white supremacy, there's toxic masculinity, and I don't know what the third one is. So it's a deadly combination.
Oh no, it's the third one is mental health, the stigma against mental health.
And
You
there you
know,
go. Yes, there's a deadly trifecta of things that are going untapped in our world, especially in America, because again, we don't have, I don't know what's going on in England. I don't see them choking motherfuckers out every day. The
that's
police
because
officers
they have
taking them,
access to free health care. They can
and
have
there
access to
you,
places they can go and talk
hmm
to a therapist and don't have to break their damn banks. They don't have to pay for everything. You work and you have to pay taxes to get paid. Then you have to pay taxes to pay for things. Then you have to pay taxes to die, and then pay taxes to live. It's like and then they don't give you what? So maybe $2,000, maybe $100,000
now
at the
if
end of
you
the.
got kids, you can
If
get
you
a
got
home. But right, it's
right,
in America, we everything else, everything bad is incentivized. Like, well, not
mhm.
bad, not incentivized. Let me see what I'm trying to say.
You're saying they
Everything,
monetize everything. They're
yes,
monetizing
that's
our
it.
life.
Everything is monetized. Like we have to, you like you said, we have to pay taxes to do this, do this, do this. And while the people who are in higher ups, like our rich people, like Bezos and them, ain't paid not no motherfucking taxes in years. Okay,
In years, you can't even
years.
get out there. It's like you get out there and do a lemonade stand, and they're coming up there and saying, "Where's your permit?" Which is
Hmm.
something you have to pay for. So it's
Right.
like just money, 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 money. It's like you can't get out of this of poverty because they because they incentivize. So this man Jordan Neely's out here on the subway in the first place because he can't afford to be anywhere fucking else.
Yes, and he was hungry. And I'm like, in New York, I was like, one, I know homelessness is an extremely bad problem. And what I hear from other New Yorkers is that I just ignore it. I was like, because, which is also part of the problem, because we keep ignoring the problem of homelessness or people who are unhoused, who can't afford poverty. And this man has been performing, trying to make sure he can maybe get a sandwich or a slice every day, but he couldn't. He was frustrated. He was tired. He was scared, and you decided, that person decided, I'm going to protect everybody. I am an off-duty Marine, and you are trained to fucking kill, and you did that. And I'm like, if they do not, if they already let Kyle Rittenhouse ass get away with shit, and it's already bad enough, if they let this motherfucker go, that is going to set precedent for more vigilante, even more vigilante access than it already is. We had people, kids getting shot on their own porches by going to the wrong door, by playing music, by going to the wrong house. There's just too much fear. And it's like, for white people to be so scared when they are the perpetuators of a lot of these fucking problems, I'm like, how are y'all not scared of each other? Y'all
Yeah,
need to choose sides each other.
y'all kill us way more than we kill you,
Right.
and y'all kill each other way more
More than we.
than
Mm,
we kill each other. Like that's like and honestly, I can name only about one black serial killer.
right. Other
Yeah.
I think the other one was what you think about the DC shooters.
DC sniper.
Yep,
That's right.
that was the only one I know. There's been others, but not as famous as that. But there's majority of them is the white serial killers, because I feel this is me being like a armchair psychologist,
Mm-hmm.
because they like to act like black folks are the only ones who were victims of slavery and all the white supremacy and all that bullshit. But
Mm-hmm.
y'all were too. Y'all were
Right.
too. Your dads were horrible motherfucking people who raped and pillaged people, and they passed it on down the generations, where you have this overextended sense of self, sense of grandeur, and that is one of the definitions of being a narcissist. You
Mm-hmm.
have the lack of empathy. If it's not you, it's them, and that's a problem. That's with toxic masculinity, issues with mental health. All this shit is just is a conflagration of just everything that's bad in our world.
Mm-hmm.
White
I
people
agree.
need help. Watch Ted Lasso, white people. If you
Watch
can't
Ted
go stand
Lasso.
like this, a white man with a cool ass mustache, and he ain't overdoing it. He ain't crying, even though that episode where Jamie and Roy fucking hugged
Mm-hmm.
took my soul. But anyway, we're gonna end this because I don't want to get angry, because we can go on tangents all day.
All
But
right. You know, right?
just just to wrap it up, just there is something sick in our water in America, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm so tired of people ignoring it like it's just thoughts and prayers and da 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 da. There's problems, and we need to see some
And
change.
it's time to take
Change.
action.
Yes, and we're no longer in the ancient world where we had enemies at our back constantly. We are safe. We can be safe. People act like we can't be safe, and they do shit like this. And I'm tired of it. So I hope this man gets. I hope Jordan Neely's family gets justice. I hope this motherfucker actually gets jail time, because we do not need any more presidents for white people to be vigilantes in the world and try to police
Mm-hmm.
regular motherfuckers trying to police black people. When we got police policing us, we don't need regular white people with their audacity. We need y'all to sit the fuck down.
And to my
Watch Ted.
homies, listening in the pen, when my guy gets there, you can go ahead and give him the treatment.
He gonna
Yeah,
get the treatment. He
yeah, I
gonna
know what
get
I'm saying.
tested. We're gonna see how much that military training keeps him together. But I
Y'all can go ahead
anyway.
and give him the Jeffrey Dahmer treatment. Y'all know what I'm saying.
Woo! That Jeffrey Dahmer scene. Yep. But anyway, honey, this was great talking with you. Please let everybody know where they can support you. I know you have. He says the Black Rainbow Coalition
Black Rainbow Movement.
movement.
Yes.
Excuse me. So
Black
please
Rainbow
let everybody
Movement.
know what we can do to support.
Yes, follow Black Rainbow Movement on Facebook. You can also, for those of you out here that like nerdy discussions about television, film, cartoons, anime, you can follow my new channel on TikTok, Black Rainbow. I'm not Black Rainbow, Black Diamond. Uh, so follow
Is that
Black
a
Diamond. Huh?
is that a Steven Universe reference?
It is a Steven Universe reference. Black Diamond lore, yes, and
Yeah. Let me know if you ever. I would love to talk about that. I love this show.
oh, really? Oh, okay,
I
girl.
would love.
Shoot.
Like,
Let's talk more about it later on.
yeah.
But yeah, that's where you guys can support me. Thank you so much, Setup, for having me on again.
Oh, thank
And
you so much.
and yeah, keep on listening, y'all.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming. And as always, y'all, I love you. Have a great day and bye bye.
Brilliant.
Awesome. That was good. Thank you so much. I'm glad
No
we got through
problem.
those damn technical difficulties.
Finally,
Yes.
yes. So, yes, my one of my sons came in a little bit in the middle while we're in the middle of it. So he's been waiting patiently. So I'm gonna go in
You
there and
have a
hang out with
great one.
him. And thank you. And
You're
we'll talk
welcome.
soon.
Yes, please. You have a great day. Bye.
Bye.